It's Independence Day like no other in America. Many beaches are closed and fireworks have been canceled. In the worst hit country, 33 states are seeing a rise in COVID-19 cases. And despite that, Donald Trump continues to hold holiday rallies where people aren't wearing masks and aren't physically distancing. Jennifer Johnson reports.
An Independence Day like never before in the U.S. Fireworks and large celebrations canceled. Beaches from coast to coast closed. In some cases, barricades have been put up to keep people away.
I feel that they're unnecessary. I mean, it's open air out here.
Boardwalks and bars in several states are also shut down on this busiest weekend of the summer.
This is my biggest dollar weekend of the year, normally.
COVID-19 continues to spread in over 30 states. More than 200,000 Americans have tested positive for the virus since Monday. Florida shattered a new record, over 11,500 new cases in a single day.
It's unprecedented, and every single day brings new experiences. I know it sounds cliche and trite, but that's absolutely the case.
While millions of Americans celebrate the 4th of July, local officials are begging them to take precautions.
The biggest thing is just hammering home the message of wear your mask.
Some beaches that were allowed to stay open are packed. Myrtle Beach in South Carolina, this one in San Diego, as both states battle rapidly increasing cases. Doctors say there will be a price to pay for all these close gatherings.
And we'll see hospitalizations continue to go up. And unfortunately, I think we're also going to see the number of deaths start to rise again.
The virus is not stopping U.S. President Donald Trump from celebrating the country's independence. Friday night, over 7,000 gathered to cheer him on at Mount Rushmore. His message not about COVID-19, but what he calls a left-wing cultural revolution.
In our schools, our newsrooms, even our corporate boardrooms, there is a new far-left fascism that demands absolute allegiance.
The people in the audience were all seated close together, few wearing masks. The same is feared in Washington as it holds its annual 4th of July fireworks extravaganza. The mayor has asked people to stay home and watch the event on TV. But President Trump has invited hundreds of his supporters to watch from the South Lawn of the White House. Jennifer Johnson, Global News, Washington.
A scare for the American president and his inner circle tonight. His top campaign fundraiser, who is also his son's girlfriend, has tested positive for COVID-19. Kimberly Guilfoyle is reportedly asymptomatic. She's the third person in direct contact with President Trump who's contracted COVID-19. Both Guilfoyle and Donald Trump Jr. are now isolating themselves and have canceled all upcoming public events. For months, medical experts around the world have been warning people to wear a mask if they want to stay safe and struggle to stay at least 2 meters apart. But in the United States, wearing a mask has become a political issue. Even the president refuses to follow the advice of his own coronavirus task force. Reggie Cecchini reports.
An everyday piece of protective equipment
respect my rights
has become one of the most divisive issues in America.
It's gotten to the point where wearing a mask somehow has become a political statement.
Health experts, including members of the White House Coronavirus Task Force, have urged people to cover their faces when in public.
There's no doubt that wearing masks protects you and gets you to be protected.
But not everybody heeds the advice.
The fact that Trump is not wearing a mask fits his coalition beautifully. They're strongly anti-government. They're opposed to rules from on high.
But playing politics with this pandemic may have cost Americans their lives, all for the sake of not wanting to be told what to do.
His supporters are disproportionately male and blue collar. And to them, this is a question of machismo. Are they manly enough to go out without a mask on?
President Trump often charts his own course, but he's faced sharp criticism for a defiant attitude during this health crisis.
This is not a confusing issue. We are in a pandemic, and if we want to prevent this pandemic and get people back to work and get kids back to school, people have to put their masks on.
Recent rallies held by the president put thousands of people at risk after public health was ignored. No masks in the crowd or on stage.
It's his decision whether to wear a mask.
In the early months of the pandemic, Trump's decision to go mask-free was followed by those who rely on his political magic touch. But as COVID-19 cases spiked, a break in the Republican ranks formed, with many lawmakers appearing in public with their faces covered. President Trump is now the odd man out.
If he were to do that simple thing, it would really encourage people to actually do the right thing.
There's a strong partisan divide when wearing masks. 7 in 10 Democrats say they wear a mask when outdoors or in stores, compared to 56% of Republicans. Overall, 65% of all adults admit to wearing a mask. Face coverings have now added to the growing divide that exists in America.
People simply line up for or against Trump, and that determines the views.
The U.S. election is roughly 120 days away, and Trump is struggling in polls. Experts say by covering up his face, the president could uncover public support. Reggie Cecchini, Global News, Washington.